Welcome to the morning show. I'm your host, Marli Ansel, at Marli Ansel on the Instagrams. And this is the morning show where you come to get your daily dose of inspiration and level up into your highest being. It is all about real life, but we make it magical. And there is so much to talk about. So, how are you feeling? Oh, Holy Wednesday. We're in a new world, are we not? We are in a new world. It's a new vibe. I'm feeling things at a level of clarity and opening that I've never had before. Like a level that was not available before. And it's very exciting because, we go through all of these huge shifts, these huge cosmology shifts. And sometimes we're like, okay, but what happened? Like what happened? And then it's this stuff that you got to pay attention to see it sometimes because things will happen in our lives that if we don't pay attention, we could miss it. So, today we're talking about the fastest way to transcend your challenges. Very excited to dive in with you on this. And what I want to talk about before we dive into that is the subtle shifts that we experience are not always seemingly huge things, but they are always huge things. So the biggest shifts of our lives is always going to be in the internal. The major shift happens in the inner world. Our outer world then reflects that shift and that change. But when we go through these big conjunctions, these things that are happening in the stars and the planets, we don't always have immediate access to see the connection. So an example, right now we're in the Jupiter and Uranus conjunction. It has just hit the same degree point. It is going to be exact on the 20th, I believe. But right now, today, it has entered in the same degree point, which is pretty much exact. That's pretty much exact. Okay. And so fortuitous change is what this conjunction represents. Now, we love that. That sounds amazing. Oh my God, give it to me. Praise. But the way that it shows up in your life could be something entirely unexpected, could be something that goes wrong in terms of your expectation, could be something that you would prefer not to deal with, could be something that's a sudden change. And you're like, ugh, why do I have to deal with this? But that very thing could be the catalyst to the fortuitous change that's getting set into motion. So there are things that happen that we miss. There's things that happen that we can see if we pay attention. But the one thing for sure is that what you think is going to be and what actually will be is rarely matching. We really don't know anything. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest, we really don't. But we can do our best to prepare, be open, and surrender. So that leads beautifully into what we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about the best way, the fastest way to transcend your challenges, transcend your triggers, to move past a challenging situation, and to alleviate that feeling of the trigger. So, there was a phrase that came to me. Oh my God, I'm going to sneeze. There was a phrase that came to me, I don't know when. It's been years. It's been years. So those of you who don't know, I receive messages from my higher guidance, usually in the form of repeating words or repeating phrases. Guidance. And I received these 3 words. Acceptance is transcendence. Acceptance is transcendence. Okay. So the first time I hear that, I'm like, okay, great. Like, great. Acceptance is transcendence. I love it. Not realizing how profound that phrase would continuously affect my life. Not realizing how much was in those 3 little words. Acceptance is transcendence. Now, this has shown up for me in numerous ways, and I am 100% sure that it will continue to unfold. But the first meaning that I took from it was that whatever you're moving through, whether it's challenging, whether you like it or not, whether it is seemingly no way around it, you cannot conquer it, whatever it is, bring the energy of acceptance into it first. Now, easier said than done, right? Because a lot of times when we think about acceptance, we think, oh, I just have to like roll over and die. Like, oh, I don't like it, but I got to accept it. It's really not like that. Acceptance is transcendence. When you are accepting a situation, you are essentially removing your energy from it. Sounds entirely contradictory, doesn't it? When you reject something, you are attaching yourself to it. You ever heard the phrase, what you resist persists? When you're rejecting something, when you're like, I don't like it, get it away, I don't want that to happen, blah, 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 blah. Do you see where all the focus is? All of your focus is on the thing you don't want. You are literally attaching yourself to the thing that you're rejecting. And in doing so, you're staying stuck with it. It's going to keep repeating. It's going to keep showing up. That challenge is just going to come over and over and over again. When you bring the energy of acceptance into any situation, you are essentially detaching and removing your energy from it. Now, the question it always brings up is like, but shouldn't I do something about it? Right? 100%. But whatever you do will manifest the energy you're in. Action manifests the energy that you are in. Said differently, any action you take will bring into physical form the energy that you take the action in. So if I take action from an energy of rejecting a situation, rejecting a challenge, I don't like it, get rid of it, fix it. If I take action in that energy, I am going to create a physical manifested reality of that energy being bigger and stronger. Do you see what I'm saying? So when I accept something, I essentially go, whoop, I just remove the energy from it. And then from there, what you want to do is shift to, I understand I don't like that. And that's okay. And that's okay. What would I prefer? What would I prefer? Well, what would I want to create? Because this is your power as a creator. This is your power as a human. What would I want to create? First, accept the situation. Then, what do I want to create? What direction would I like to move the energy towards? What would I want to put my energy into? When you take action from an energy of creation, now you're talking. Now you're creating something that is going to open up a new level of energy versus trying to fix the old level of energy. It's a totally different ballgame. Okay, so acceptance is transcendence. The next way that this showed up for me in my life was a big realization that I was not only in need of accepting the challenges that were showing up, I was not accepting the good that was in my life. This was a really profound moment. This was oh my God, I have not been accepting the good that my life is. Now, let's pause there for a second and stay with me because even when really amazing things are happening in our lives, there can be an energy of feeling as though we don't deserve it, as feeling as though we need to do more to maintain it, to keep it. Have you ever had something really amazing happen to you and you had nothing to do with making it happen? It just happened. And then suddenly you felt responsible for making it stay. You see what I'm saying? Accepting your life as it is, accepting all of the beauty and the wonderful things as they are, which is a whole lot more work than it sounds like, right? Because it takes healing. It takes opening your heart and allowing that energy to come in. So, in speaking to how do we transcend a challenge? The fastest way, how do you transcend a trigger? The fastest way? The fastest way is to first accept it as exactly what it is. Stop rejecting it because when you reject it, you attach to it. When you accept it, you detach from it. And the moment that you detach from it, then you're available to put your energy towards what you actually want to create. Now, let's go a little bit deeper before we tie it in a big bow. What about when you're triggered? Oh, like when you're triggered, we are not our best selves, right? When you're triggered, I'm going to give you an exact example because it is so close to home. What about when your child triggers you? What about when your partner triggers you? What about when your best friend triggers you? What about when your parent triggers you? What do I do in those situations? Now, the unhealed version of us will react. Do you see what I'm saying? When you're triggered and you don't have that level of self awareness yet, you don't have that space in between feeling and reacting. Typically, when something hits one of our triggers, we will react in turn. We will react from that energy, which is never a good energy. We know that, right? We have all said hurtful things in our past that we wish we could take back. It's not a good thing. When you are triggered, especially by a person, which is typically what it is, right? When you're triggered by a human in your space before you are interacting with them, like, so in a time period when you're not around them, I want you to take a second and bring acceptance over that person. Now, what I mean by that is typically when we're triggered by people, it's because we want them to be different. So we are in turn rejecting them. You see what I'm saying? Oh, full circle here. We are in turn rejecting them. So I want you to think about, especially the parents out there, if your kid triggers you, your kid is triggering you because they are representing a part of yourself that you are rejecting. They're representing a part of you that you are rejecting. So try this because kids unabashedly are themselves, right? In whatever way they please. They are unconcerned about what people think. They are unconcerned about social niceties and who you should be and blah, 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 and all of this stuff. And as an adult, we've trained ourselves because of our childhood, because we were told, don't do that, do this, blah, 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 all of that stuff. We've trained ourselves into I'm just trying to think how I want to say this. We operate as masked versions of who we actually are. Most of us. There's not a human I know that doesn't put on a mask of some sort. Do you know what I mean? And we do that for social survival. So now here comes your kid, fully themselves, unconcerned. Like, say what you're supposed to say. No, I don't even know what that means, right? And they will come out and they will trigger you. They will trigger you because they are showing you the part of yourself that you shunned a long time ago, the part of yourself that you rejected. So, in example, if your kid is how many times have you told your kid like, "Oh my god, it's too much. It's too much. It's you're too much. Like, chill it out." Right? That's my number one. I'm like, "It's too much. You're extra right now, and I need you to be less." Right? That's what my 2 children, especially when they go at it with each other, like, "Ah, it's too much. It's too much. Calm it down," right? So I want you to think about this very practically. Your kids being too much, and for you, it's too much. You feel me on that? Oh, God, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. It's bothersome. Stop it. Why is it bothersome? These are the questions we've got to ask ourselves. This is the place of awareness we've got to come into. Now, if you don't have children, apply it to any other human in your life. Why does it bother you? This is the curiosity question because we cannot control the whole world into submission so that we can feel okay. We try to, especially with our kids. We try to, right? So I want you to try this out. Whenever someone triggers you, you got to get curious. but create space between the trigger and the reaction and insert the energy of acceptance. Accept that human for who they are. Just in this moment, accept that human for who they are. It's your child. Really, really do this because all of us as human beings, all of us are just craving being understood and accepted by others. That's all we truly want. Like, you're not going to find a human on this world that doesn't have that desire. I just want to feel understood and accepted. I want to feel as though there's no need to reject who I actually am. But a lot of times we inadvertently train our kids to reject themselves. And it's because we're rejecting ourselves. I know, we got deep. But truly, so whenever your kid triggers you, it is actually a really good thing. They are meant to trigger you. And they're meant to trigger you so that you can see the part of yourself that you have not fully accepted and integrated. So as you accept your child or as you accept whoever in your life is triggering you, you're gonna find that that part of you that gets triggered starts to relax. Because as you accept them, you in turn are accepting yourself. You with me on this? Now, when it comes to your child, yes, we are parents and we are meant to teach them. Teach them by all means, teach them, but teach them from a place of acceptance, not a place of that's wrong, you shouldn't do that. Teach them from a place of I accept you exactly how you are. Even the parts that trigger me, I accept them. I accept them. I accept them. And as you do, you're going to find that you're going to be able to teach your child from a much easier energy, an energy that feels like flow, an energy that feels like love, one that's easier for you to convey what you actually want to convey, and one that's easier for them to receive it. Because I don't know about you, but like if somebody basically tells you that you're wrong, are you very open to listening to them? No, right? And kids, especially, are very, very intuitive, very sensitive and intuitive. Like they pick up on and understand more than you could ever comprehend because they're taking it all in. They are little sponges for the world around them. And they might interpret your energy, although it might be your energy might be well intentioned, like you want to help them. If you're coming from an energy of rejection and I don't like what you're doing, all they're going to feel is rejection and I don't like what you're doing. Do you see what I'm saying? So we've got to bring the energy of acceptance in first to all things, challenges, triggers, whatever. It doesn't matter. In the acceptance of it, you will transcend it. You detach from it as you accept it. And then from there, you can create anything you want. Truly. From there, you have so much more power. You have so much more of an ability to move things in a different direction rather than being right there with the problem, right there with the challenge, or right there with the trigger and trying to counter it. Countering things doesn't work. Accept the thing, transcend it, and then you can move forward in whatever way you like. Amen? Amen in the hallelujahs. All right, my loves, we're going to wrap. Thank you for being here live. If the show resonated with you today, please share the show with somebody that you think it would make an impact for. It helps us to grow our audience and grow the message. And if you want to come into my world, we have a relaunch of my most beautiful foundational program, Becoming a Conscious Creator, and it is currently 50% off. So if you would like to come deeper into this work around the subconscious mind, healing emotional triggers, and intentional manifestation to be able to create whatever you want, that program is a deep dive in how to do this work. It is absolutely incredible. And right now it's 50% off. So if you are on Instagram, you can comment in the comment section the word creator, and I will send you the 50% off link right away. And if you're on YouTube, you can check it out in the show notes. There will be a link with a 50% off code. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. And if you have any questions that you would like to send into the show for Friday Q&A, you can message them to me directly or email me at assistant@marliansel.com. Thanks so much for being here. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And I will see you here tomorrow, Thursday, for another episode of The Morning Show. Goodbye, my loves.